Hi, Sam. We have Sam from Down by Law and Black Valley Moon here on Pi Records. Um, Amazing guy,
Hello.
amazing bands. Uh, what are you up to today?
Today, not much. Well, not a ton today. Let's see. I was just practicing. I try to get about an hour in every day, if I can. But as far as like official stuff, um, yesterday, Black Valley Moon recorded vocals for our first vocal song. So that's kind of cool. I mean, it's we're just kind of trying out some new stuff. I think we might. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but the song turned out really, really cool. It's sung in Spanish by this guy named Ray Vega, who's really cool. He's in a band called Switchblade Villain here in Tampa. And so we might go do some more stuff along those lines. It's kind of like it's got the lyrics are sticking with kind of the horror punk vibe, but the music
Yeah,
is very kind of dark, surfy sounding stuff, garagey, I guess. Lots of guitar leads and stuff. So, and I think it's kind of unique sounding, but who knows?
uh, I personally love that tune, "Cemetery Romance." Uh,
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
that it,
I was
it,
just totally. That was that's one of my favorites too, for sure. That one has actually it got written in a bunch of different ways. It was the whole project was kind of like nebulous when I first thought of it. I knew I wanted to do an instrumental thing that was really guitar based, but I didn't know exactly how I wanted it to sound. At one point, I was thinking like a punk rock version of Trans-Siberian Orchestra or something, or
wow.
like a punk version of Joe Satriani, where the music is more like Descendants and Ramones and stuff like that. So it's more accessible, but it would all be guitar instrumental. So I eventually settled on the more surfy kind of traditional vibe, but there's a demo of that song done in more of like an aggressive, like all kind of
Oh
manner.
yeah.
Yeah, I was happy with the way it turned out though. So yeah,
It, it's
but yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure.
it's funny that you mentioned Joe Satriani because "Flying in a Blue Dream" came to mind when I was listening to that. I'm like, God, that particular song.
Oh,
Um,
cool, man. Yeah, I
yeah,
do like him. Yeah, I
yeah,
like his stuff. He was like, I mean, when I was a kid, like Surfing with the Alien was huge,
yeah.
and what was the one after that? I forget, The Extremist or something, I think was the name of that one. There was another.
It's
Anyway, he's usually got about yeah, he's usually got about 3 or 4 songs on every record that I really, really like, when it's more like song based and,
yeah,
but he's one of those guys that I like, as far as like rock instrumentals.
yeah. He's great, great, and him and Steve Vai had a couple good years there. Had some great albums.
Yeah, they're very similar sounding
Yeah,
because, Steve Vai is like, Joe Satriani was his teacher when he was a kid, so you
yeah,
can totally tell that it's very similar
yeah.
vibe there.
Uh,
But yeah, I like a lot of that stuff.
yeah. So for those who haven't seen it, there's
There it is.
your Rat CD, and
Yeah, right. So at this point, that is possibly going to come. Well, it's definitely going to come out on vinyl, and it's supposed to be. We just have a time frame. It was like with all the Corona stuff, the plants kind of shut down, and we got pushed way back in the line.
yeah.
So it might be another couple months or something, but at some point that'll be a vinyl, and then we have a 7-inch, a 4-song 7-inch coming out on Missing Pink. Also, don't have a date for that, but it's all done and wrapped
I
up. So
I saw the cover. It looks pretty great.
both the covers were done by Jason Bowes. He's done the last several Down by Law records too. He's really good. I
Um,
usually give him well, most of the time I give him some kind of like direction, and he just does what he does with it, and it's really good. That the new one, the 7-inch, yeah, it's got a cool vibe to it. You wouldn't look at that and think surf band. It almost looks like a doom metal band or something,
but
but
you
it's
know what? It fits perfectly on the Missing Fink roster.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because he's all about that stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
that
And
was, yeah, totally.
like Mr.
He's got
Chups
a lot
too.
of cool bands. What's that?
Like the Messer Chups, it belongs right next to that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that band. They're good, you know, really good. But
Yeah,
yeah, so that's pretty much what we've got in the works for them. Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear it. Um, Speaking of the artwork, I just have a question personally for me. uh,
Mhm.
All in. How close were you to give him enough rope with that?
Oh, that's a funny. That's kind of a funny story because um, that was Dave didn't come up with the concept, but what Dave originally told Jason was he said what's actually on the back of the album, which is the skeleton hands with the dead man's hand,
Yeah,
the cards, you know.
yeah,
So I told that to Jason. So Jason automatically picked up on the Western kind of vibe.
yeah,
So that's like my favorite genre of movie is like the old westerns, especially the Italian ones, you know. But
yeah,
any
yeah,
western, and Dave is totally into it as well. So Jason hit us back with that cover, the actual cover, and we're like, whoa, that is amazing. So, but the one thing we thought was like, I don't know, is it too much? The colors look very much like Give Him Enough Rope, and it's got the little horse donkey guy. You know, something
yeah,
about it just strikes you immediately as Give Him Enough Rope. Um, but it's not a terrible thing, but we wanted to make sure, you know, so we had to run it through like 100 different variations of the colors, you know,
yeah,
because we were like, man, maybe the colors are just too close. But in the end, that's the one we like the best, you know, it just looks the best on it. And it's, we're obviously influenced by the Clash, so it's no
yeah,
big deal. Actually, the cover for Punk Rock Academy Fight Song came together similarly. There was some, Dave was a huge Clash aficionado at the time. I didn't actually grow up listening to the Clash, but he did, obviously. And it was like a greatest hits 12-inch that he had some cover that was laid out, and he gave that to the cover artist, you know, when we were doing Punk Rock Academy Fight Song,
yeah,
and they just kind of took the colors and did a little this and a little that, but it was another direct influence from a Clash cover, you know, that I think about it, but yeah, so it wasn't intentional, but it also wasn't unintentional. Once we noticed it, we just kind of were like, cool,
yeah.
you know.
But still, I mean, All In's a great album compared to a great album, you know?
Yeah, I have no problem. That's actually my favorite Clash album. A lot of people kind of put that one in the back. You know, it's either like the first one or London Calling or something. But to me,
Yeah,
Give Them Enough Rope is just my favorite one. It's like right in that sweet spot middle. You know, it's like they got their stuff together. The production is good on it, but it's pretty raw sounding still. You know, it's just a really good album.
you had speaking of that, you had a pretty sweet split CD, I think in the early 2000s, Pseudo Heroes and Down by Law. And didn't you cover Safe European Home?
Oh, Down by Law did, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That was like, yeah, we did. We were doing that. We did a bunch of weird. I haven't listened to that in years, but yeah, that was. I was just, yeah. Pseudo Heroes had an EP, and it was out on a label called Theologian at the time. I don't
yeah,
think they're around anymore, but they were like, is there any way we could get Down by Law on here too? You know, and I was like, you know, maybe. So we were still with Epitaph at the time. No, maybe we weren't with Epitaph, but we didn't want to do a bunch of songs from those albums, and we were on in the middle of a tour, so it was kind of like I don't want to say it was thrown together, but it was like we just did it. We just threw all the covers we were doing on that set at that time. We kind of did them all live, and that was one of them. We've done. See, we in the past. I mean, we've done so many Clash songs. We did that one. We've done a bunch of other I can't remember which ones now, but yeah, we've done a ton of Clash songs for sure.
the
I always wanted to do like the more affected ones, you know. If you're like a band playing the same crowds as us and stuff, it's always people think of something off the first album like White Riot or something, you know. But I
yeah,
was always like, let's do like Train in Vain or like Rudy
yeah.
Can't Fail or something, you know. That would be or like Charlie Don't Surf or whatever, you know, one of those more uh, kind of weird ones, you know, but we haven't gotten around to that yet.
The Specials did a ska version of Somebody Got Murdered.
Oh yeah, totally,
Yeah,
totally.
it's pretty rad.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
So there's a couple of releases that Down by Law did that kind of went under the radar. It caught me off guard when they first came out. I don't know how I thought of it. One was Readout,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you want to talk about how that kind of came together and what people can expect from it?
We did that one. I think we did it at the same time that we did All In. We recorded it all together, and we just kind of. Um, I don't remember exactly. It was just the label. You know, we always get, or a lot of times, we get asked from labels to do compilations or 7 inches or EPs, stuff like this, in tiny labels. And it's difficult for us to do because we're all in different states. You know, Dave's in Virginia, I'm here in Florida. So it's a lot of money to just record one song or something, to fly everybody into some place. Um, but that one was just timed just right, that we were actually in the middle of recording All In, right at the top of that, I think. And the guy asked us to do a few songs, and we were like, okay, cool. So we just recorded enough songs in the whole session, and then we just kind of picked which ones went on All In and which ones went on that. And yeah, there. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, so you know, it's actually, to me it sounds a little different than All In as far as just from the song choice. I think it's a little, uh, I don't know, a little harder sound. Maybe I don't know. Actually, it's pretty close. But it's right from that era. You know, if you liked
Yeah.
All In, you would probably like these three songs. You know.
I remember when I first heard For Your Eyes Only, I was like, oh, that's a little surfy. And then I think
Oh yeah,
I messaged you and
I forgot about that one.
I said,
Yeah, that
you know
was
what?
like I was trying to throw that in there.
And
Yeah, I was thinking I was thinking I was going to throw the surf thing in on a Down by Law song, and that was one that me and Dave um, didn't argue about, but we were definitely like, oh, which one should this go on? Should this go on the EP or the album? You know, so it almost ended up on All In, but just last minute, you know, I don't remember how we prevailed that, but at some point we decided to put that one on the EP. But yeah, that one's total surf, no doubt.
yeah, it's so rad. All the songs on here are rad. Um, and that was Pine Hill Records. So,
Yeah, it's one of the guys. He plays in the current version of Battalion of Saints. I think the guy
oh,
that does that. I don't remember what he plays, but he's like, well, Battalion of Saints is like the singer, you know, George from back in the day,
yeah,
and like other guys, and this guy's he plays with them, and I think he might have just put out a Battalion of Saints
yeah,
like retrospective or something.
yeah, yeah. I
But
have. It's like a 3 CD disc, like set.
oh, okay,
Yeah, it's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah.
Oh, here's another one. Quick
Oh
hits.
yeah, quick hits.
I
Yeah.
I gotta say, when I heard DC Guns, I was like, oh,
Oh yeah.
because I hadn't heard that in so long.
Yeah, that one is so. That was another one. Okay, so the label was just like, do you guys want to do a live in the studio greatest hits thing? And we were like, okay. For the set list, the way we came up with it, they had a few songs that they absolutely wanted us to do, and then we just kind of bounced between songs that weren't, because when there is a greatest hits that came out on Epitaph, I don't think it's in print anymore, but it was just kind of like
Yeah,
you know, the ones you would expect.
yeah, Big Country was on there, right?
Yeah, that's right. That was a different one. Yeah, but most of the other ones were like, you know, Best Friends, Last Brigade, you know, all the
Yeah,
hits, if we had anything close to that. But so this one we wanted to touch on that a little bit, but also hit kind of the deeper cuts, I guess you'd call it, you know.
yeah.
So and it's the closest where we're going to get to a live record, really. It was live, but it's like so we had never done a live thing, and the songs are kind of updated a little bit, you know. There's like longer solo sections,
Yeah,
and there was DC Guns. That was the bass player on that album, John. That was his call, because I was like, there was another one that I wanted to do. I wanted to do one called Dag Pump that was on compilation. I don't even remember what the compilation was, but I remember the song.
It's
and he's
on
like, no, let's do DC Guns.
that.
And,
I posted a video of me playing that
did you?
on my own.
Oh, that's right. I think I remember that.
And
Yeah.
and because I had just gotten the All Scratched Up vinyl in the mail, and it was on there, and I was like, oh, I had to learn it right away.
Oh, so is that one? Okay, is that one on the double version?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Sam. You're kind of cutting out a little bit.
Oh, I think I lost. Okay, I hear you. I see you now.
Okay.
Dag Pump.
The All Scratched Up.
It's okay. I didn't remember that. Okay, so it was on that one. Okay, so
yeah.
So I wanted to do that one, but he was like, "Let's do DC Guns," and it was like, okay. But then the next thing was to try to find a good version of it to even remember the song. I mean, there's not much to it, but I totally didn't remember it. We haven't played it in ages, So we scoured the internet, and somebody had the 7-inch, and it was really scratchy and crackly, and then they, put it onto like a MP3. But it was a pain, and even then it was hard to even figure out what was going on. But yeah, we just kind of reinterpreted it, and it is a good opener, no doubt. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So I think we covered everything, but we didn't cover the new Down by Law stuff that you were playing on the internet the other day on Facebook. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're in the middle of a new record, but it was kind of because of the coronavirus thing again. The studio that Dave was doing his vocals at were shut down about halfway through, so we're kind of in a holding pattern. All the music is done. We're just waiting on the vocals, and it's mostly mixed. We just have to put the vocals on top of it, but it's going to be it's on the same label, Kung Fu, which is now a subsidiary of Cleopatra.
Okay.
And it's going to be 12 songs, I think. No title. I don't think. We might have a title, but yeah. So we're just waiting for Dave to finish the last bit of vocals, and we'll be good on that. But there's no release date on that either. But it may be a surprise. The one thing about Quick Hits is we gave it to the label, and we had a release date, and then I woke up one day and it was out like a week later. They just threw it out there. Yeah, they're like, whatever. So they might do that with this one. So it might come out sooner than we think.
It's funny because Dave will share something, and he'll be like, "Oh my God, it's out today," and I'll be like, "Oh my God, like it's a surprise to him."
Oh, that one is a huge surprise. Yeah, I don't know what the thinking was, but they just got it, and they're just like, why wait? Here we go.
I loved it. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
But I mean, once I read the track list, I was like, okay, let's see how they would, interpret it with their sound now, and blew me away.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, I was super happy with that one, no doubt. Actually, the last two I'm really happy with. I like the way they sound and the songs and everything. So I don't have it sitting here,
but Windward Tides and Wayward Sails. That just came. Why did that come out on vinyl now? I mean, I'm glad it did. It's the only one I didn't have on.
Yeah, that was another one. It came out on a label. I don't remember why they didn't put it out on vinyl at the time, but it came out on a Canadian label that's no longer around. And people would always ask me, like, hey, can we get the rights to that and put it out on vinyl? I would get this periodically. And when you try to get hold of the label that had the rights, we couldn't get a response from them. I couldn't really find out who owned it at that point. It was just hard to track down who had bought the rights to it and everything. And finally, actually, like 3 places hit me up all at once, like within a month. I just kept getting these calls for these was just the weirdest thing. Like everybody wanted to put it out on vinyl, and I was just like, hey, the first person who can find out who owns it, you can put it out, you know. And
Oh,
this one guy, he got a response and tracked the guy down. I think he might have known him. He's in Canada as well, and he just knew who had it, and kind of got everything from him, and just did it, you know. So it's like cool.
that's awesome. And I'm very glad because Accelerator is one of my favorite Down by Law songs. Um,
Oh, cool.
so if I could crank that out of my stereo, that's, I couldn't wait to
I
get.
think that one, if I remember, I think that one was mixed by Steve Hanskin from Minor Threat. He mixed one song on there. I think that might
Oh,
have been the
really?
one. I can't remember what. There was some story behind it, but yeah, the rest of the record I did, but he mixed that one. I can't remember why, but yeah, that's a good one for sure. I
Yeah,
haven't listened to that in a long time. I should probably listen to it.
yeah, it's so good. As far as the sound for the new album, what can we expect? I know you don't want to give too much away, but
Well, let's see.
Road.
Yeah, the last album. See, to me, Down by Law has always had the same influences, which are like, you know, the Jam and Elvis Costello and those kind of pub rock type English bands, and then there's like the more hardcore stuff like Minor Threat, you know, and then there's kind of the melodic hardcore thing, you know, like Dak Nasty, Bad Religion, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But to me, All In really was leaning on to what I had wanted to anyway, and what I think ended up was that it mostly displayed or kind of it leaned on the like the Jam and the Elvis Costello side of stuff. You know,
yeah,
there was a little bit of everything in there, but the guitars were a lot cleaner. You know, there was a lot of layered guitars. You know, and so that's really what I was going for. But I think the new one is a bit more like the more the vibe, maybe the more slightly more traditional Down by Law vibe. I mean, it's still way progressed as far as like comparing it to something like Punk Rock Academy, but I think it's more probably got the slightly more edgier, still very melodic, but the guitars are more distorted. You know, kind of going back maybe to Champions at Heart. You know, kind of. You know, I definitely think it has a different vibe for sure, just slightly. Yeah, it just so happened that the songs kind of ended up going in that direction more than the poppy stuff. I mean, it's pretty poppy. I shouldn't say that, but it's you know, I'm having a hard time thinking of the word that I would use. I don't want people to think it's hard, like it sounds like, you know, hardcore, but it's like it's just got I think it's got a slightly more of the classic Down by Law vibe. A lot of it does. There's one song in particular that kind of sounds like an updated No Equalizer a little bit. It reminds me of that, you know, similar kind of guitar parts and stuff. So
that's a great tune.
yeah, and that's yeah. So I don't know. I think it definitely sounds different, you know. So you just have to check it out. Really, it's different than All In, but it's not completely different than the rest of our catalog.
That was one thing that I loved was much like all every one of your albums stands separate from each other.
Yeah,
And was
yeah, for sure.
that intentional, or did you just kind of find the direction that you wanted to go? And
For me, it's intentional. I mean, let's see, there was in the '90s. Let's see. You know what? Let me think about that for a second. I've always wanted to kind of just keep going. You know, as far as like, okay, just for me myself, it's always important to keep improving, like on the instrument that I'm playing. You know, and I do a lot of the music writing too. A lot of the songs now are collaboration with me and Dave. You know, so like I'll do the music and he'll do the vocals. So I'm always trying to think like, what can I do on the guitar that maybe didn't do on the last record, I haven't done before, and that would include not just playing stuff, but like a sound, who's a
Mhm.
different influence, like uh, maybe I can show off a little bit of the Andy Summers vibe on this song, and we didn't do that before. And then I also like to challenge Dave a little bit too, like with the surf song, I'll do something that's like a little totally different for Down by Law and just throw it at him to see what he comes up with, and he always, knocks it out of the park. So that's like a fun thing. so, so, uh, I never, I don't want to cut on any bands or anything, but I definitely would not be entertained playing the same thing that I was playing 25 years ago or something. I've always got to. I don't challenge myself just to challenge myself. I want it to sound good too. So
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I hope the songwriting is progressing as much as anything else. But
Yeah.
it's kind of all part of the same package.
As far as pushing yourself, when you say you like to challenge Dave, when I first heard Mountains on All In and Undone, I was like, okay, that's
Oh
something
yeah,
I've never heard Dave sing like that before. And it was great.
yeah. Mountains. Well, see, so that's one really cool thing is sometimes I have no idea what he's gonna do. Like Mountains was a song I just did it, and I didn't know what it sounded like, and I try to keep in mind like, okay, there has to be some room to sing over this stuff, but beyond that, I don't really think about it too much. And that one was a total surprise to me. I was like, I wonder what he's going to do with this one, and he sent it back, and it ended up the way he sang it was like a Roger Daltrey thing, and I
Oh
was
yeah,
like, oh yeah, now I can hear it. Now it's like a hardcore Who song,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is like I never would have thought of that, and it's like a certain era of Who too, like quadrophenia type,
Yeah, I could see
um,
that. Yeah.
which it was just so cool. Yeah, I was so stoked on that one. I was really happy about that one. And Undone, that one, I think is that one? Yeah, that one's yeah. Well, they all came out great, but that Mountains is definitely one that sticks out in my mind as Dave like really took it to a different level, which it was a really pleasant surprise on that one.
That one. I can't say enough about that. When I heard that breakdown in Mountains, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
That's like the one that gets
yeah, that was
the hair in your arms to stand up.
yeah, yeah. We should put that one in the set at some point. I think like that one's yeah, and Undone was like Undone Dave's baby. You want to stretch out a bit on that one too, so he got like the horns going and stuff, and yeah, I was stoked on that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Um, so I'm gonna finish this up. Is there anything you wanna hit on that we haven't talked about?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty much it. And let's see. Yeah, Black Valley Moon got all kinds of stuff coming up with that. If everybody could just like, you got the T-shirt and everything. So we got those for sale on the websites, and we have like, yeah, there you go. So we got those. We got a bunch of stuff for sale, and we'll have the other stuff soon. And everybody keep an eye out for that because it's got some cool stuff coming up. Like we'll probably start throwing some songs up in the interim just between now and then, just see how everybody likes them. So I wouldn't mind hearing feedback on that and stuff. And then somebody called me today about an older band I did. It was like a thrash metal band called Denial Fiend. I think I told you about them maybe.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was it was like a thrash metal type band I did. Is the bass player who's been in everything, Terry Butler. He was in Death, and now he's in
Oh my God,
Obituary.
yeah.
And then Rob, who plays drums in DRI, and the second record, which is my favorite one, was the singer for The Accused, Blaine, sang on it. And somebody called me just yesterday about they're trying to put together Tampa Metal Hall of Fame, and it's gonna well, actually, not even Tampa. I think it's all of Florida because there's so much metal in Florida, especially in the '80s and '90s.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do it on a website first. His name is Dave Allison, and he's doing a website first, and I think it's going to expand from there. But it sounds like a really cool idea because there's so many cool metal bands from here, and not just death metal bands, but I mean like Sabotage and stuff like that, So that'll be really cool. But he had called me to clarify stuff about Denial Fiend, so I guess we're going to be on there too, which is cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Before I plug some things, I want to ask you, because I just remembered, I saw a post the other day, you did something with Scott Reynolds.
Oh, that's right. I wanted to mention that too. Yeah. So Scott and I, years ago, had this idea to do a kids album, and it was going to be, the whole idea behind it was that the music was, it was going to be a kids album, because it was at the time my kids were really young, and Yo Gabba Gabba was on, and I was like, the music on this isn't terrible. It doesn't drive me crazy like a lot of kids' music. So I was like, let's do an album that's like that with, kind of like family-friendly, kids important type lyrics, but the music would be way more sophisticated for people that like, The Descendants or Dag Nasty or stuff like that. It's just some weird idea, like a hipster kids record or something. So so we ended up, I think we only ever completed 2 songs, and then life kind of got in the way, and but then we've been trying to kind of just put it out there for a long time, and Missing Fink is going to put out a 7-inch, and it's either going to be we don't know if it's going to be 3 or 4 songs yet, because the 2 songs we did, they're around like on YouTube and stuff, but they never got actually officially released, and definitely not on vinyl. So this will be a vinyl EP, and we have all kinds of plans for it. Like Chris Sherry is going to do the album cover.
Oh wow!
And then it's going to come with the lyric booklet is going to kind of be like a kid's book. You know how I used to read books with the story thing on the records, It's gonna have that kind of vibe, like a whole kind of book that goes with it.
That's awesome.
And I think it'll be really cool. So I'm just kind of, Scott has some health problems recently, but he's all good now. But that kind of set us back a little bit. But it's gonna happen, yeah, for sure. It's the Baron von Thunderbolt is the name of the band, and yeah, so that'll be coming out. Who knows when, but it will be coming out. Yeah.
I also heard, I think from you, that you do music for sports channels.
Oh, I did. I did that a long time ago. It's so funny. Like, it was a sports channel called Fuel. It was called Fox Fuel, and it was like an extreme sports channel that Fox owned or something, like a cable thing. And they would have like X Sports and snowboarding and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked up, he just would he would get like clips from me, like I forget how long, they had to be like 30 seconds or maybe a minute long, all these different genres, no lyrics, instrumental, one would be kind of hip hop sounding, and one would be kind of like metal sounding. And I did that for a while, and then they have a huge turnover rate in those places. So he was gone after a while, and then the new guys did hire freelance people. But the funny thing is that when you own a song like that, you get paid every time you get these quarterly statements.
You cut out.
Sorry. All
right, just go back.
So when you do something like that, whenever they play the song where it got played. So I still get statements for this thing I did years and years ago, and they're live stations. So like Entertainment Tonight has used it, and just news programs use it. There's these weird little clips in the back. And I actually went to to Fox Sports last year, or actually it was a year before last or last year, and tried to get it going again, but it's kind of slow at this point. But
Yeah.
it would be great to get back into that because that was really fun and cool. But yeah, those songs have really made the rounds, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. Um, so that's really interesting. Um, I remember when I was briefly at NFL, you mentioned that you did sports stuff. They
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, they have a whole like studio just for like the musicians. They have musicians that orchestrate the whole thing.
yeah.
So it's
That's what I figured. Yeah.
pretty
I
wild.
would love, yeah, I would love to get into the soundtrack thing like that. I'm always looking for like, and I always say to myself, especially with Black Valley Moon, I'm going to sit down and just submit for all these films and stuff. But it's kind of hard, especially if you don't live in LA. I don't really know. That's like something I haven't been able to really navigate yet. Like
Yeah,
getting into soundtrack stuff. But it's something I definitely would love to do, especially as I get older. That would be like the way to go for sure.
yeah,
But a lot of those places, yeah, they don't do like the freelance thing. They just have like their own guys, and they kind of keep it all closed in, for themselves. But
yeah. They're
yeah,
very like hush hush about everything.
yeah, all the connections that I did make, it was kind of like that. Like Yo Gabba Gabba, I actually talked to them about the thing that Scott and I did, and they loved it. But at the time, I think they were done filming, and yeah, it was kind of like a boys club kind of thing.
Uh,
They just kind of wanted to keep it all kind of to themselves, but I just keep trying. But that's for sure one of my goals, and especially like I said, Black Valley Moon. I just think it fits in so many different. They could be the backdrop for a lot of different stuff. So
it's good. Movie music. I could definitely hear it. Um,
yeah, I would love it to be in a movie. Yeah.
that'd be great. So you have a bunch of stuff here at Pi Records. Um,
Yes.
but
Thank you,
where,
Fire
but,
Record.
but where can you get? Like, where are you selling your stuff? You're selling it yourself, but also do you have Bandcamp? Um, Little Rock.
Yeah, it's on. Let's see, Black Valley Moon at this point is mainly on Bandcamp, and we'll probably leave it on Bandcamp until the vinyl comes out, and then it might be available at some other places after that. But we really want to kind of funnel that one. So
Yeah,
in like stores and that. I don't want it all over the place, but I just want I want the vinyl to have a chance. So then that's where that's mainly, and Facebook directly from us. That's pretty much it for Black Valley Moon. I mean, we have a couple songs on compilations. Like there's a Punk Rock Halloween Part 2, which was a comp of a bunch of punk songs or punk bands doing Halloween type songs on Cleopatra. We have a song on that. You can get that from the label, I think.
I have the
And
first one with the Down by Law song on it.
yeah, this one has I think this one has a set. This one also has a Down by Law song on it. It's got a different one.
Oh, okay.
So and yeah, and it's got Black Valley Moon has a song on it, and but yeah, pretty much that's it. I mean, yeah, for Black Valley Moon at the moment, Bandcamp is the main place for that, and Facebook direct from us somehow. Down by Law is all over the place, obviously, and yeah, that's about it right now.
So who's gonna play on the new Down by Law? Is John back? Who's playing drums?
No, kind of. You know what? We kind of decided it's just whoever can do it. It's Dave and I and whoever's kind of available and ready to go at that point. So for this point, we actually, funnily enough, the Black Valley Moon drummer plays on the new Down by
Oh, I saw him post.
Law.
I didn't
Yeah, that's right.
do both.
I forgot about that little crossover. Yeah, so he did it. He did a great job, And I actually ended up playing the bass on this one because I had the songs just exactly how I wanted them, and I pretty much had all the ideas kind of worked out and stuff, you know. So, and then when we go on tour, it's kind of like it's like a Rolodex, you know. We just go through the Rolodex of our guys, and whoever can get off work and whatever wants to get out, that's who goes with us, you know. I mean, so yeah, it's kind of like me and Dave and 100 other guys at this point.
I saw in an interview one thing about Dave is he likes to collect musicians.
That could be true.
I don't know who said
But yeah, he's got a lot. He's definitely got a lot. I mean, he's super accessible, you know. If somebody's cool and they call him up and want him to sing on something, he'll do it, you know. It's which is awesome of him. And he's super talented, so he can sing anything, you know. So, oh, that's another thing we're working on that is totally unexpected, which is Cleopatra is putting out another edition. So they did two Halloween ones, and they did a Christmas one. Down by Laws on all those, and now they have a new one coming out that we're also recording, and it's punk bands doing yacht rock songs. So
yacht rock. Is that like the 80s? The 80s?
Well, it's like 70s, 80s, like easy listening AM radio, like Kenny Loggins or stuff, you know, total opposite of what, you know. And but Dave had already mentioned this song that's a total yacht rock song. It's called Precious and Few by this band called Climax. And I mean, it's like total Osmonds type, or like Andy Gibb or something, you know. It's like feathered back hair type music, you know, on solid gold. And he actually wanted to put that on this next record. And
really?
I was like, maybe, you know, we were thinking about it. It would throw everybody for a loop, that's for sure, because he wants to do a totally straight cover of it, like not pumped up or nothing, just like easy listening version, which I think is awesome. But right about the time we were discussing it, the label came and told us about this idea. We're like, oh, that's perfect because we got this song already in the works. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So I don't know. Again, with all this craziness, I'm sure everything's been pushed back, but that'll be happening.
So that's Kung Fu.
Yeah, same label. Yeah, they love doing those compilations. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna let you go, Sam, and I want to tell everybody to check out Black Valley Moon's page. There's lots of videos there. Down by coming out with some new stuff. Black Valley Moon, Missing Fink.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty in there with Johnny, man. He's a great guy, and he really takes care of people.
Yeah, he's totally great, man. He's excellent. He's a good dude. And Pie Records, man. Pie, you guys are right up there, man. Fighting the fight.
We're trying.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. You have a good night.
You too, man. Thanks for the interview and everything.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
All right, man. See ya.